Good afternoon and welcome to Solent Sports News. I'm Joe Parker and these are your 3:30 headlines. Breaking news from the National League, Eastleigh's own Sam Smart has moved to Havant and Waterlooville on loan for the remainder of the season. The 23-year-old made 15 appearances for the Spitfires this season but was not a regular starter in the squad. Eastleigh take on Yeovil in a mid-table clash tomorrow afternoon. Kurt Zouma will remain available for selection as West Ham prepare for their game against Leicester on Sunday. Manager David Moyes has continued to play the Frenchman after a video of him kicking and slapping his pet cat. The RSPCA have since taken the 27-year-old's two cats off him as the investigation into the incident continues. Some breaking news to bring you this afternoon from the Championship. Former Derby owner Mel Morris has reached an agreement with Middlesbrough chairman Steve Gibson in relation to the ongoing row between the two clubs. Morris has made the agreement to make sure the legal dispute doesn't disrupt the sale of the club any further. Derby travelled to Middlesbrough on Saturday to try and continue their impressive relegation battle. Liverpool have cut the gap to table toppers Man City to 9 points. A Diego Jota brace saw Liverpool come out as 2-0 winners over Brendan Rodgers' side at Anfield last night. Jota turned in from close range on the 34th minute and then doubled his tally and Liverpool's lead just 3 minutes from time after a delightful pass from Joel Matip. The Merseyside club sit in second position in the league, 9 points behind Man City with a game in hand. Mikel Arteta will have to deal with yet another suspension for Arsenal's next game at home to Brentford on the 19th of February. This comes after striker Gabriel Martinelli was sent off for two controversial bookings within 30 seconds of each other last night against Wolves. This is the 15th red card Arsenal have received since Arteta took over in 2019. The Spaniard is getting increasingly worried about the situation at the club.
Very worrying. To be fair, it's the first time I've seen a red card like this in 18 years that I've been in this league. I think you have to be pretty willing to give a red card in that situation. But still, is what happened. We know that playing with 10 men in this league, you're not going to get points, enough points, the points that we want, and we have to stop it.
Michael Smith is optimistic that one day he will win the World Championships. The 31-year-old from St Helens lost his second PDC World Championship final last month when he lost to Peter Snakebite Wright in agonising fashion at the Alexandra Palace. Bully Boy, as he's known, reiterated earlier this week that he will become a world champion one day.
When I lost to Michael, it was always a question, will he ever get another chance? What have I got to do it? And then obviously I got a second chance, but I still lost. But I knew in my game I could make the final more than once. So that's where it was easy to get over. It was just more frustrating that I lost again. But if I keep looking back at him, I'll never get to move forward. So knowing that I've got the game in me to get to the finals and give myself the chances. That's why I don't dwell on it too much, because I know it's there.
The Winchester River Park skate park has been a hub for skateboarding in Hampshire for years, but it's now risk of being sold. Live and skating for us at the park is Ollie Johnson.
Thanks a lot, Joe. I tell you what, I haven't been on one of these since I was about 10. There's an awful lot of kids showing me up at this skate park. Schools have just finished, they're all out, and I feel very underwhelmed by my performance. I have had a little practice, but it's not going to be shown on camera because it is appalling. But it's nice to see the good spirits here after what's all been going on. Obviously, the University of Southampton are potentially going to be buying over this skate park, and all these locals aren't going to have anywhere to go locally. There's a perfectly safe place for them to skateboard, scooter, a few bikes around, and it's all going to go. And it's the Art College of Winchester potentially taking over, but in our package we will tell you an awful lot more.
The skate park at River Park Leisure Centre in Winchester has been a hub for skateboarding enthusiasts for years, but now it's potentially going to be sold off. The City Council has agreed to hand over the site to the University of Southampton to allow for the extension of the Winchester School of Art. While the negotiations are ongoing, skating is slowly coming to a halt.
Skating here roughly like a year and a half or so. I came here first when I started and kind of made all my mates here initially. So since they all come down here, I just come down here all the time now. But usually there's always new people coming down. I've met people who came all the way down from Leicester and came to skate down here, trying out the park. So it's really sick seeing everyone come down here together. People always know people from competitions and stuff like that.
Despite the risk of sale, the locals have made a petition which has just shy of 2,500 signatures against the plans. It is this community spirit which is keeping the fight going, and for now, keeping the proposed transfer at bay. with skaters Jack and Lewis saying the battle against the council won't put a dampener on the mood.
Yeah, the community you see here is like unrivaled anywhere else. We couldn't go to Southampton or to a different park and get the same sort of environment and community feel you have here. So, as well, if you look around, there's a broad age scale of everyone. There is every day, and we're all avid skaters. So for us, you see a younger trying to get into it, and you see yourself, and you want to help them.
It is strange to believe that the City Council are willing to hand over the skate park, having spent over £270,000 on improvements to the facility back in 2015. Alternative sites have been mentioned if the park is demolished, but for these skaters it'll be hard to replace.
Definitely gonna disrupt everything. Like everyone's gonna have to go somewhere else, like to the streets or to like the other one skate park, which is quite a way away. Like this one's nice and centred, so like if they do make another skate park, it's a lot easier, especially for a girl, to walk home from the centre instead of like quite far out of Winchester, where it's like quite bad.
The skaters of River Park will be forced to find somewhere else to ollie, kickflip and wall ride. And with the handover all but confirmed, the one place they could skate could in time be no more. I'm Ollie Johnson for Solent Sports News.
Thank you very much for that, Ollie. British tennis player and former world number 1 Andy Murray suffered a straight set defeat at the round of 16 stage in the Rotterdam Open. The Brit lost 6-3, 6-4 to Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime. The world number 11 will have to face another Brit in Cameron Norrie when they play each other in the competition's quarter-finals. Into the Winter Olympics now, and a 15-year-old Russian figure skater who failed a drugs test in December has won Olympic gold. Kamila Valieva won gold on Monday as part of the team figure skating, but was not awarded a medal because of a legal issue. The Russian anti-doping agency controversially lifted her original suspension, which then enabled her to compete at the Beijing Games. Shaun White's exceptional snowboarding career has come to an end without a medal in Beijing. White, who is a 3-time champion, came 4th at his 5th and final games. He became the first snowboarding 3-time champion 4 years ago in Pyongyang. The 35-year-old was nicknamed the Flying Tomato because of his red hair look when he first broke onto the scene in 2006. The Solent American football team have reached the playoffs. The Red Hawks are unbeaten in 4 and have lost just 1 of their matches this season. Max Timms has the full story.
The Solent Redhawks have been preparing at Test Park this week ahead of the playoffs. It's a monumental achievement for the American football team, and one they will certainly be looking forward to. The Redhawks ran out 32-2 victors over the Bar Bulldogs to secure themselves a place in the top 8 of Division 2. They'll be looking to try and build on the 3rd place finish of last season. Defensive coordinator Nathan Farmer thinks the players' attitudes are the reason for this success.
Determination, I'd say, where we didn't have too many players who have played before this year. I think the younger players have shown a lot of resilience to learn a pretty complex sport pretty quickly, so I'd say that's been what's driven the team really.
The Redhawks have just 1 defeat this season, with a loss coming against the Bullets. Linebacker Luke Hammond is over the moon with their record.
Yeah, very proud. We've worked hard, both offense and defense. You know, we come down here when it's raining, when it's windy, when it's cold, but we all put 100% effort in, and that's what you can ask for. So yeah, we're looking forward to it, and we believe we can go all the way.
American football as a whole in the UK has been rapidly growing. 28 NFL matches have now taken place in Britain, with audiences here being able to see 31 out of the 32 teams. Wembley and the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium have become regular hosts of the game in this country, both having signed deals with the NFL, with the latter planning a huge bid to host the 2026 Super Bowl at their ground. Redhawks quarterback Harry Stevens can only see the sport getting bigger.
Yeah, it's growing rapidly, and it won't be long before some NFL franchise will be set up somewhere in the UK, probably London, but with the links that the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium brings, it's interesting to see how much that's going to increase in the next coming years.
They'll certainly be looking to replicate their 2014 to 2015 season, in which they won the championship. The playoff draw is yet to be held. Whoever they come up against, the Redhawks will fancy their chances. Max Timms, Solent Sports News.
Super Bowl fever is gripping the world again as the Cincinnati Bengals face off against the Los Angeles Rams at the SoFi Stadium in LA. The Rams are seeking their 2nd Super Bowl win in their 5th appearance. The Bengals are bidding to win their 1st Super Bowl ring. The key players to look out for this Sunday are the Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald and the Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. The quarterback expressed his excitement ahead of Sunday's game.
Very hard to be in this position. I wouldn't say it's surprising. I know the kind of guys we have in the locker room, and the coaching staff works really hard to put us in good positions to be successful.
The Solent men's rugby first team are involved with one of the closest title races in recent years. They currently sit second in the men's Western Tier 3A League with 2 games in hand and 4 points behind current leaders in the Royal Agricultural men's first team. George Harrison has the full report.
Here at Test Park is where the Solent men's rugby first team trained to try and catch the league leaders, Royal Agricultural. Solent are involved in one of the closest title races in recent years. They currently sit second in the men's Western Tier 3A League with 2 games in hand and 4 points behind Royal. Captain Ben Sherbon was honest about their upcoming game versus third place Exeter.
It's a bit of a banana skin for us. We could very easily beat them, we could very easily lose them. So it's difficult to prepare accordingly because we don't know what team they're going to bring down. They have so many players, they have like 9 teams and they chop and change the players so much. So we don't know what we're coming up against, so we're just preparing for the worst.
A well-fought display on Wednesday led to Solent winning 36-17 to get closer to the leaders. The team are improving their all-round skills with new ways of training such as this 2-on-2 ruck drill. Solent are looking for their first piece of silverware since 2016-17 when they won the Bucks Western Conference 4A League. Pitch captain Jamie Cromie has been impressed with the return of the squad from the last semester.
After the Christmas break we've been training really well, the boys have looked really sharp. We've got competition in every place, in every position this year, which is really good. It gives me and the coaches a headache in terms of picking the team.
A couple of weekly 2-hour training sessions at Test Park is what will help Solent push Royal all the way to the end of the season. It will test the team's physicality and fitness, but it might push Solent to new heights if they keep their form. But manager Stephen Judd is more focused on another goal for him and his team's future.
The main goal? These numbers. If I'm honest, the lads are performing consistently, but now we've come to the end of the season, these lads come to their end of their time here, third years go, new freshers will come in, so it's now about keeping the numbers, keeping the consistency, so people can learn quicker next year and we do better next year.
What has been the main factor that has kept you guys so consistent? And
the lads and their relationships with each other. The way they get on, the way they communicate with each other. They're honest. They're at times brutally honest with each other. They're saying, this isn't working, you're not doing that. We allow creativity to flow, so they're coming up with their own solutions to their own problems, which means when they're out there on the pitch, they're doing what they need to get the problem solved.
Solent play bottom place Plymouth next Wednesday and will hope to be even closer to the top. George Harrison, Solent Sports News.
Staying with rugby, and England are looking to bounce back after last weekend's defeat at Murrayfield in the Six Nations. Eddie Jones' men lost 20-17 to Scotland in the first round of fixtures on Saturday night. England will be looking to pile on the misery against an Italian side who have lost their last 33 Six Nations games. They have since made 6 changes to the team that started against Scotland, but Joe Launchbury, who was brought into the camp this week, is not in the matchday squad and will instead return to Wasps for their league game against Bath. Ireland have been given a setback ahead of their Six Nations clash with France on Saturday. Captain Johnny Sexton will miss the trip to Paris after injuring his hamstring in training. Sexton suffered the injury on Wednesday in Ireland's last day of training before travelling to the French capital. Ireland's previous game was a convincing 29-7 win over Wales. On to F1, and Sebastian Vettel has said the focus should be on the sport and not so much on the show after the controversial end to last season's championship in Abu Dhabi. Max Verstappen was able to take the championship from Sir Lewis Hamilton's grasp after race director Michael Massey failed to follow the rules under a safety car. The 4-time world champion spoke yesterday at an event in which his Aston Martin team were launching their new car for the 2022 season. The Silverstone-based team will be looking to build on their disappointing 7th place finish in last season's Constructors' Championship. The longest F1 deal with any track has been signed today. Bahrain has signed an extended contract with Formula One to host a Grand Prix until at least 2036. The new season will open in the Middle Eastern state on the 20th of March after Australia lost its traditional slot because of COVID-19 uncertainties. Finally, in cricket news, Yorkshire's suspension from hosting international cricket at Headingley has been lifted by the ECB. This comes just months after the ECB banned the county from hosting international games, whilst an investigation was ongoing following alleged reports of racist behaviour towards Azim Rafiq. Headingley is now set to host a test match against New Zealand and a one-day international against South Africa later this summer. Again, remember to keep up to date with us via our social media at Solent Sports News and our website solentjournalism.co.uk. That's it for today. We'll be back next Friday with more news. See you soon.